Now, feeling stuck doesn't mean you're broken. It just means that you started down a path or trajectory that you're no longer aligned with. The best part is you're far from the first person to experience this or feel this way about your career. Not everyone is meant to work the same job, same office, or for the same company for their whole lives. Now, you may worry that your motivation has tanked or that you're not the hard worker that you were when you took this job. And that's not it either. Motivation problems are often context problems, and this can relate to the culture of the workplace, a difficult boss or coworkers, or simply a change in who you are and what you want out of your career. The main thing that I want you to take away from this video is that change is good. You'll push back, but change is such a good thing for people to experience. Now, when I was getting my undergraduate degree, I worked in a warehouse for a women's clothing and jewelry store. Most would call it a boutique. It was simple work. It helped me cover rent and be able to eat out with friends. And in all honesty, I loved working there. I was able to listen to music, books, podcasts, watch YouTube videos, you name it. I just had to make sure I was getting my work done. Fast forward to my first job out of college, and I had a cushy desk job making almost double what I had in the warehouse. And I was able to work remotely. Yet I'd never been more miserable in my life. I can't point to one particular thing that was bad about the job. It just wasn't aligned with me as an individual. I had the chance to say, hope it got better, but I knew I needed something to change. Now, a theory that I want to highlight is person-environment fit. Now, this is helped to be explained, and it is used by social workers along with business psychologists. The theory states that a person is affected by their environment similar to how their environment is affected by them. Oftentimes in videos, you hear the phrase that you are as good as the 5 people you surround yourself with. This lends itself directly to that phrase. If you surround yourself with people, objects, and spaces that encourage you to be at your best and align with what you personally need, you will find yourself being that best version of yourself. Inversely, you need to acknowledge the parts of your environment that negatively affect you and why they do so. The relationship works both ways. Take a second to think about how you either positively or negatively affect the environment and how it affects you. Now, one of the main points of this video is going to be alignment. Now, the first alignment or misalignment that I want to talk about is your person to job fit. Now, a common misalignment is a job where you are only there to complete tasks. You clock in, you complete your work, and you leave. While this sounds like most jobs that anybody is going to have, that isn't exactly true. What you need to consider is whether or not are your tasks refining the skills that you want to improve. Are you getting better every single day, or have you hit a max level of the skills you need to complete said tasks? Now, the alignment you need to consider here is what is most important to you. It's going to be different for me than it is for you. I need a position that allows me to further my skills even if they're the most mundane tasks. Think about the warehouse job I referenced earlier. Organizing clothes, doing inventory, and weighing product wasn't furthering my education or letting me become the best warehouse worker in the world. But I didn't want that. I wanted a job that gave me flexibility to further those things myself. I was furthering my education in college. I was listening to podcasts related to performance psychology to better understand the field I would eventually move into. Or I was listening to music that I enjoyed to relax during a stressful week of assignments in my college degree. The tasks allowed me to build my skills both related and unrelated to my job, and that's what I personally needed. Now, another misalignment could be you compared to your organizational fit, whether that's related to values, pace, or overall structure. Now, you need to fit the organization you're working for. If you don't, you've already started a countdown for you to be leaving that company. This is related to a phrase called cognitive dissonance, which refers to an internal misalignment that causes you stress, discomfort, and grates on you as a person. Think about times when you've done something that you knew was wrong. You felt something that wasn't right internally, and this comes out when you're working for companies that you don't align with. Now, this alignment can be related to them supporting politics you don't agree with, or even not living their mission and vision statement. Seeing that level of dishonesty can tell you a lot about a company and where their hearts actually lie. Sadly, the majority of the time, it's only ever going to be about profits when it comes to an organization or to a company. So the important step here is to better know yourself so you can work with the company or organization that stays true to what they say if that's what's important to you. Again, this is going to be different for each and every person. Maybe you just want to be paid as much as possible. But if you're at a company that doesn't fully value their employees, then you'll end up leaving for better pay and an organization that values you at the level you expect. Now, the next misalignment relates to your boss or your supervisor. This is personally my most important aspect of alignment when it comes to my job. If I don't like my boss or someone that is my boss's boss, I won't last very long at that company. It's okay to not like people. Being professional isn't about getting along with everyone. It's about understanding your job and what you want to get out of it. For my supervisors, I need someone that will give me autonomy. I trust myself, and I need them to trust me to do my job well without the need to micromanage. Additionally, I need my boss to be knowledgeable. There's nothing worse than working for someone when you know you could do their job just as well as they can. If you haven't had a job like this, then you're lucky. Knowing someone is paid way more to be worse at their job is a difficult pill to swallow. And when this happens, I know I'm not going to last very long at all. In the end, the importance of this alignment is knowing yourself and exactly what you need to be effective with an organization. Knowing yourself so that you can save your future self by working for a company and supervisor that are worth producing for. Now, something I want to dive into is how you can be misaligned in a lot of ways, but still be good at your job. It's going to weigh heavily on you, and you are likely to leave eventually and dislike your work overall. Being great at your job Be great at your job so that when you find the place worth working for, you can be your best version and help others to do the same. Now, I want to do a couple other examples of misalignment that you can possibly relate to. The first one is being purpose-driven in a profit-only culture. A lot of people feel like a lot of people need to feel like they're making a positive difference at work. Whether you're in a service-based industry or you're selling a product, people like to know that they're fostering positive change and helping others. Now, if an individual like this find themselves in a role that is only based on output and profit, the relationship will suffer. The company doesn't care whether or not the customer can afford their product. That isn't their problem. The company's only problem is to be profitable and to do better than the previous year. A person seeking positive change is going to encounter that misalignment, along with the cognitive dissonance mentioned earlier. They know they aren't helping people, and that's what their core value is. Don't find yourself in a profits-only position if this sounds like you, and your future self will thank yourself for it. Another area or another possibility for misalignment is being a creative thinker in a rigid structure. Now, creativity is a hot topic, particularly with the rise of AI. Not every workplace has the space for creativity, and many are limiting the options that had been available. If you are an extremely creative person, you probably shouldn't go into something like accounting or data entry. Simple as that. You need to understand what you need in order to find fulfillment in your job. And if you put this aside, again, you start that countdown of eventually leaving the job and finding yourself on the job hunt again. Now, the misalignment that I see most often with my clients is they asked what they needed financially before what they needed internally. And I want to emphasize that this isn't the wrong thing to do. It's just that the people I work with have found that even when they made more money, what they needed was still left out. This is going to lead eventually to burnout, possibly to mental health issues, and again, unnecessary stress. Each person's circumstances are different, so please do what is best for you, but this is just what I see in those that I work with. Find the balance that you need of making money along with getting fulfillment in what you do. Now, Why does everything I've mentioned eventually lead to burnout? A chronic misfit is going to drain your identity. When you can't be your best version, you start to lose it. Similar to working a muscle, you need to use it or lose it. If you aren't able to fulfill what is needed in your work life, you will start to lose those parts of yourself. Now, you won't turn into this shell of what you used to be or anything as drastic as that, but I'm sure you can think of a few people that you've seen who are obviously worse off because of the job or organization they decided to work for. Don't let your career drain your identity. It should feed it. Something else to consider is how effort is going to increase while satisfaction decreases. What I mean by this is it takes a lot more effort to do something you dislike than it does to do something you love. Think about a hobby of yours. This can often be a mindless thing that you're able to do and a perfect way to unplug because you enjoy it. Jobs don't need to be your hobby, but they shouldn't drain all of your energy for the day so that you can't enjoy the other parts of your life. Now, what should you be doing instead of just hoping you get the motivation and exhausting yourself every single day? You need to diagnose the misalignment. Find the areas that either need to change or be adjusted and start taking the steps in order to do so. Also, you should identify areas that are very well aligned. For myself, I currently work in higher education, and I love being able to help people take their next step in their educational journey. That fulfills me. Another thing you can do is adjust your role, but don't adjust your self-worth. It's a hard thing when so many of us get some measure of self-worth from our careers. Don't let a bad job take away from you as a person. You are incredible, but your current job may not be. You can adjust the jobs you do and companies you work for, but you should never be adjusting your own personal self-worth. Now, the last thing that you should do instead of just pushing through is stop using motivation as your metric. Motivation is a fickle thing. It comes and goes, and oftentimes leaves in the times you need it most. You don't need to be more motivated. You don't need to grind harder. You need to find the balance that's going to be best for you. This might look like finding the job that you know you're capable of doing on your lowest motivation days, along with your highest. Now, I have a career clarity guide that you can download with a series of exercises to better understand what you value and what you need in your career. It's completely free and I'm not selling you anything. But what I want you to take away from this is you need to understand yourself before you can understand the best balance or fit and expectations that you need to have for your career. Know yourself and you can easily know those pain points. I hope you got a lot from this video, and as always, please like, comment, subscribe, and more than anything, I hope you can be well today.